All right, Marcus is unhappy about his Super Bowl accommodations, but we're going to press on with.
Unhappy is an understatement.
Yeah.
I'm
tell,
considering not going.
tell your team not to make the Super Bowl. Then you
Yeah,
be all
I'm
freed
about to
up.
man, I just got over being sick. I'm about to rejigger that joker right back
Dude,
up.
I
That
am sick
RSV about to
again.
kick in. Yeah, I'm
I
about
got the
to
damn cold again. I've just kicked this cold like a month ago, and I'm sick again.
shoot. I'm
God,
nervous about what I'm gonna catch at my hotel.
right. So if y'all could hook a brother up Super Bowl week, call Marcus Thompson up, hook him up. He wants a better room than what he's got because it's not the best. I'll just say it that way. You could do better. You
Hey, yeah.
could
So
do better.
I was saying this on the radio out here, and no, it was in Sacramento. I was on with Sacramento, and they were like Super Bowl. I'm like, man, I don't even want to go, but I dropped the name of the hotel, and it was like, yeah, thanks for crapping on one of our sponsors. I was like, oh my bad, my bad.
Oops.
Sorry. What are the chances, right? What are the chances?
Exactly. Our man Waz Lambre joins us. He's back. He left us, Marcus, for greener pastures.
Man,
with the
I
regular-
literally miss Waz. Like I literally miss him. That's crazy, right?
man. I'm saying? Like,
Appreciate the words.
man.
Obviously, I miss you guys too. I mean, the pastures were greener. They wasn't that much greener though. I mean, come on, if we talk
Slightly
about
greener.
green, it wasn't that much greener. Come on now. We don't want these people.
They just wasn't brown, huh?
Yeah, we'll say that. Yeah, we don't want the people tapping the pockets,
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were
I'm happy to be
passably
back
greener.
with you guys.
Man, so good to see you, man. And we got a lot to talk about. What did I want to start? Oh,
Hey, was he
let's start
ducking
with.
us? Has he been ducking us? Is that what Waz been
No,
doing?
no, why has
Is
he
he
been ducking
ducking?
us?
Nah,
Okay.
I've
No,
never
Waz good people,
ducked.
man.
I've
Waz
never
good
Waz,
people.
ducked
you don't
anybody in
duck,
my life.
you don't duck, huh? All right.
Nah, I don't know how. I don't know how to duck.
I know where you can learn. I know where you can learn how to duck from.
Right.
Hey, listen,
He like, hey.
I
Waz like,
can't
why?
speak to it.
Nah, why you perpetrating Marcus on the beginning of the joint? Man, I saw that y'all talked about this, so it's a good place to start today. I don't know. I want to hear what you said though about. Let's start with. I'm curious what y'all think about this debate in the NBA about the offense. I have a take on it, but I hate hot takery, but I have one if you want it.
Sure.
Um, um, but let me hear what y'all think about all these explosion in scores. I was at the Embiid game when he scored 70, and I watched the Luka game when he scored 73. So whatever y'all think, I'm interested. I'd like to know what you think. Good, bad, no big deal.
I mean, to me, we've been going in this direction for a while, and it's a combination of a couple of things. I think obviously teams are smarter about what's the most efficient ways to score, and so they go about hunting those things. For instance, the 3-point shot, 3-point fouls, like the way that guys and teams just relentlessly hunt that play and
Yep.
outcome. I think that plays a major factor. Obviously, we're Harden and even Embiid to a certain extent. They've gotten so much smarter about just drawing contact, and as soon as they get touched, doing the shooting motion thing. They've just gotten way smarter at it. And I think the last part about it that's most important, that I think these guys deserve the credit for, these dudes are just more skilled. Like, these dudes are better shooters legitimately.
No doubt.
They have a better understanding of how to create angles, and they're better ball handlers. Like, they're more skilled than ever before, and this affords them the ability to make opportunities for themselves. So I think it's a sort of team-wide understanding about the best ways to manufacture good offense, and the players are just as skilled as ever.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
Why
It's you
not?
know what? I actually like it. You know what it is? It's not so impressive anymore. It
Right.
doesn't look
Yep.
impressive. And I don't mean like obviously 73 is impressive, but when you're watching it, it doesn't feel so unique. I remember when Kobe scored 81 Like I left that game at halftime because the Warriors.
What?
That's what they used to do. They used to do the day-night doubleheader. It was Warriors Clippers for the 12 o'clock game,
Right.
and so I was like, man, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not staying here, really. It was like Lakers Raptors. I'm out.
Right,
I
right,
get to the
right.
hotel room. I turn on TV and it's going crazy, and I'm
Right.
like, and so I immediately called my wife and was like, I just left the greatest sporting event of my time. Like I just literally left it. Like I left it. I was watching it at half. It was like halftime. I was like, I'm out. I'm out. But I remember watching that, and the riveting part was there was a bit of doubt about whether Kobe would score.
Right.
Like they were
Yeah.
triple teaming. They were trying like
Right.
they were
Yeah.
like it was like, how will he do this? Can he
Right.
pull it off? Every bucket felt intense. I'm watching Luka with 65.
And
at
they
the
still
end of
ain't
the
doubling
third,
him.
and they
They ain't
singling this
doubling
dude
him.
with like
They
straight.
still ain't doubling him. I'm like, what is going on?
I'm watching this like, of course he's getting 73. I'm like, he might get 100. There is
Right.
no impediment. There was no. So it's like, yeah, if you keep giving a dude the same step back, yeah, he's gonna feel it and he's gonna go crazy. But I think first off, what you're saying is absolutely true. These dudes are so skilled that the difficulty is now easy. Like, remember how just incredible like a fadeaway used to look? Like you would go to the park and practice that thing. You know what I'm saying? Back to the be like, oh man, it looks so hard. Now they do it from 3. You know what I'm saying? Like now they do it off 1 foot. So they're so skilled and almost like that ain't that hard. Like I could do it. But then like the defense, like Waz, like you said, all you gotta do is touch them. There's no like the difficulty has been robbed. So to me, when I'm watching it, it's like, yeah, if you just it's almost like practice. It's like watching Steph in practice. It's like, yo, that dude hit 73 straight threes, and it's amazing because seeing that many shots go in is just amazing. But it's not the same as watching Barkley get 50 on the Warriors in a playoff game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Yeah, yes. It's like it just feels easier. So I feel like we're being robbed in that sense.
Here's what I would say. I think because I'm old now, so I view everything through the lens of an older person. I think this is ageism. And what I mean by that is the people that love offense, love the way the game is played now, don't think anything that happened 20 years ago was any damn good. They think it all sucked. It was terrible. Like, how could you enjoy a 92-90 game? Like you know, that was terrible basketball. It was awful. How could you watch that? You watch what you're given. And when what we were given back in the day was a league that was too much about defense. There was too much defense. Now there's too much offense.
Yeah.
It's just it's out of balance. It's just out of balance. And like you said, the defenses are impotent because they can't guard anybody. You can't touch anybody.
Yep.
I'm not talking about mugging a dude. I'm talking about just touching a dude. Like, you can't do anything to impede the offensive progress.
It literally drives me crazy. You can ride alongside of somebody who's driving with your arms out, just playing defense. And if they bump you, it's a foul on you. It's one of the craziest things of all time. It's like, I'm literally, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm running alongside you, whistle every time. Not even like questionable. Like, you bump me too hard. It's like if he touch you. Remember Waz back in the day when dudes would be about to fight and they don't really want to fight, so they say something like, "Touch me, just touch me." Yeah, touch me. Touch me. Like, yeah, if you touch me, I'm gonna fight. Touch me, right? That's the NBA. They're like, hey, you better out. You touch a foul. That's what.
And to DA's point about the sort of correction that had to be made, right? And I always bring up the game that always sticks out in my mind is when Allen Houston in 1999 made the buzzer beater against the Heat in the first round of the playoffs to advance. That buzzer beater gave the Knicks 79 points for the game. Okay. Teams are routinely in the 70s at halftime now, in half the time, right? And I think that was these were the outcomes they were correcting for. Now, teams routinely being in the 140 at the end of regulation, I just think that's the outcome they need to correct for. period.
Yeah.
Like, just like we corrected for, look, nobody wanted to watch 77, 75 games. Like, that
No, I
was,
get it.
it was a rock fight. It definitely
brutal.
was.
Yeah, it was
But I
brutal.
think the place that we've landed in now is the opposite. And again, the fact that offensive players, your Trae Youngs, your James Hardens, your Joel Embiid, your Shea Gilgeous-Alexanders, the way that these guys are able to initiate contact, like they're initiating the contact. This isn't when, you know, the play that I think about is like when LeBron got hit at the end of that Boston game last year,
Right, yeah,
and he
yeah.
literally had a meltdown. Like,
Right.
those are fouls.
Right.
Like, that's a foul in every generation.
Every generation, yeah.
We're
every
all
era.
cool. We all understand. Like, you drag a guy's arm down on a layup, he deserves to shoot two free throws for that. But some of this other stuff, man, where Harden is hooking your arm and dudes is just throwing themselves into people and flailing, it's got to be tougher than that to earn those free throws. And I think that's the stuff that needs to be taken out. Some of the stuff with around pace and 3-point shooting, you can't legislate that stuff out of it, right?
Correct,
I seen Haralabob put a tweet out there, and he was like, in Kobe's 82-point game, I think the average possessions per game was 90 in total, and they scored at a 106 per 100, whereas now it's 100 per game, and they're scoring at a 116 per 100. So it's like it can't be that freaking out of whack, right? And I think people who are watching the game, if you have even any familiarity with basketball at all, you recognize that something is askew when on a regular basis teams are dropping 140.
Yeah, the thing that's always made the NBA, I think, unique among the team sports is that individual greatness always comes inside of a team concept. Like, baseball has individual greatness separate from a team concept. You know what I mean? Like, baseball is pitcher versus batter. Now, one of them's on one team and one of them's on the other. But the great hitter doesn't have the help of anybody else on his team when he gets a hit. He just gets a hit.
Unless he plays
or
for
he
the
doesn't get a
Astros
hit.
in 2017. No.
Right. With some exceptions, right? Right. But when in basketball, the individual greatness almost always has come through the team concept. Like, you couldn't, like, way back in the day, who was the best offensive player on the Boston Celtics? I don't know. Like, I have no idea. Was it Havlicek? Was it Bill Russell? Was it Sam Jones? What? I don't know. They were great because they all touched the ball. You know what I mean? And they fast break.
And Waz, they had 125 possessions per.
You know what I'm saying? But it all came out of the team. Now it's just dudes getting 60. Like, there was nothing that suggested team with Luka the other night. That was just Luka scoring 73, and his team happened to win. Now he made some passes late in the game, but most of those points was just Luka just horsing it on people.
Yeah.
And so,
but the worst part is the resignation, DA. It was like everybody was fine with it.
Right.
Waz used to jaw a dude who was cooking you like that.
Right.
Like, now
first of all, you're getting fouled really hard. And somebody's putting your ass on the ground, which is another thing we're just not allowed to see. But the thing is, man, these rules never really get reversed. Part of it, to me, I think we need to go back to an era where it feels like there's a possibility dudes might fight. Dudes don't like each other. It's just very hard for me to see the league conceding that we need more of this tension. It's hard for me to see Adam Silver specifically, anyway, coming in and saying, yo, we need to encourage this increased level of competitive, attitudes towards each other. No league has ever gone back on this. It's like, it'd be hard for me to imagine the NFL being like, Steve Atwater types of welcome back.
Right.
And whatever. The NFL just seems to never be affected by any rule change or anything that is
ever.
different
Doesn't
in the
matter,
league.
right?
Doesn't
So
matter.
who knows? But like, it's hard to imagine the league would be like, all right, this thing we used to do was
Lester
a little
Hayes,
barbaric.
come back here, Lester.
Right.
Like, it's hard
Bring
for
your
me to be
stickum.
like,
Bring
yo,
your
Ronnie
stickum back.
Lott, go back to breaking people's fingers and grabbing their nuts in the pile. It's
Right,
hard
right,
for
right.
me to see a league go back to that. But part of me thinks this is a part of it. It's like, especially in the regular season, where it just oftentimes feel like, we're just going through the motions.
It's funny you mentioned that because I remember again. I know. I really I struggle with not being the old man in the club. I really do. But like you said, the regular season, I remember vividly Karl Malone busting Isaiah Thomas's head open in the regular season. Him getting 44 stitches in the regular season. You know what I'm saying? Like, those games meant something, because to your point, there was real rivalry between teams. Those guys hated each other. And you're right. It's never going back to that under Adam Silver's leadership, which, okay. I mean, I get that you can't, because of free agency, more than anything else, you're just not going to have the same team for 7 or 8 years. It's just not going to happen. But that's what made the rivalry so real, was that hatred, like legit hatred of one another. And I want what he's got. I want to take what he's got,
Right.
and that's not here anymore. They're all rich. And I'm not saying they're not competitive. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But the sense of he's got something I want to take, it's not there anymore. Or at least it's not there on any meaningful level, I don't think.
I think that the part that would frustrate me if I was one of today's players is it's almost as if it's essentially putting this unofficial asterisk on my greatness, right? Like, when we look back on this, I mean, Jordan, we were so impressed by it because literally the Pistons would beat him up. Like, the Knicks.
He had to
like,
earn those
Yeah,
points.
it felt like, you knew it was legit, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where it's like, the league doesn't even have like a Tony Allen anymore. And that was just like 5-6 years ago. So when you get in your buckets and it's like, all right, I dropped 60. And I was like, but on who? And how did you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's almost like these guys are Brady Anderson, right? Where it's like the ball is juiced.
Anybody can hit 50 home runs, right?
It's almost getting to that point. And I really do think it's something they need to do about it, because again, in the playoffs, it's a lot different. Even the refs, they start calling it different. It's harder to earn these fouls. Like, they change the freaking rules in the playoffs all the time, right? And those games obviously feel more intense and important. And, you just wonder with the NBA regular season, how they reverse that course, especially again, like the season is long as hell. And I want to say another thing too, just to get back to you guys' point about the rivalries in the regular season. I remember in 2013 and 14 at the time when the Heat played the Spurs in the finals. And I was like, look, like, obviously when the Heat play Boston, these guys all hate each other, as evidenced by Paul Pierce to this day, still hating on LeBron and D-Wade. He's still hating on them in retirement. Like, I'm like, obviously those series were fun, true hatred, but I'm like, look, nobody can deny that the Heat and the Spurs, have great series, and they don't have any of that hate. And, I've evolved on that. I'm just like, that's an outlier, honestly. I think it's going to always be more interesting when it feels like, there's something a little bit more
might pop off.
Than the actual outcome of the game, right? Like, there's even more juice than whatever is at stake within the individual game. And so, man, I mean, to me, all of these things work in concert with one another, where, of course, these guys are extremely skilled. And, the rules have just changed, like just the hand checking in general, like the reason that they had to like get that out of the game at the time. It was so muddled and the works was so gummed up, and Pat Riley and Derek Harper and that crew, they just made things look so nasty.
No,
At
it
a
was
certain
bad. It
point,
was
of course,
bad.
he took
Yes.
it to the Heat, and they had to do this. But just to reiterate, man, like this offense thing it's essentially the offensive version of that same thing.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanna pivot to, because I know you also talked about this, was about Embiid skipping out on Denver again. Now, I like Joel. I love Embiid, man.
Duck,
But this is
goose.
starting to look a little fishy to me, man.
So I
Hey, but he sat out the next game though. So
He
I
did,
seen a
but
meme.
I
I
don't know.
seen a meme on the internet where they like clearly he ducked him. Then now he has to justify the ducking by sitting out another game. And then now
Right?
that's probably gonna
Conspiracy
cost him the
theory.
MVP because of the
Right.
65 games, right? New rule. And it's just funny. It's almost like, if you've ever been playing video games with your brother or your cousin or your homeboy, and you win and he's like, run it back. And it's like, no, I'm going out on a high note. We're not running this back. I bust your ass. You're done. You don't get to no backseas. It's not happening. It's
Hey,
almost
Waz,
like this is what's happening with Embiid.
the time where I was about to beat my dad for the first time, like I've been trying to beat my dad. I was like 13. And I could tell he realized I was about to get him because I had crossovers in, my jumper was going. So he started playing bully ball, posting me up. So it was like game point. I had the ball. Yo, he fouled the hell out of me. Took the ball, made the bucket, and walked off with his hand in the air and would never play me again. Would never play me again. I was like, yo, come on, we got. Like, he wouldn't. I'd never play my dad again ever.
Nope.
That's what he did. He's like, nope. This is how we going out.
And it feels like Embiid is doing a version of this. He's like, yo, I got him.
Right,
and we're gonna end off on that narrative, that part of the narrative. I won. I won at home. We're not going up to Denver. I'm not dealing with the altitude. I'm not gonna deal with the road fans. I won the last time I saw this guy. That's the narrative. Stamped.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's hard to not believe that, right? Like,
but it would be crazier if he went out there and tried to play and then pulled himself, right? We'd be yeah, he wanted to play. This is what like he should have went that route. My knee hurt, but I'm dragging. I'm gonna run out there like Willis
Reed. 20 minutes in and then limp off the court.
You know what I'm saying? Stare at him a little bit. Yeah.
That's what people are crying about, though, right? It's like, oh, he wasn't in the injury report. He suited up.
Right.
And then was like, the medical staff, the guy said I don't look like I'm good to go. Can't do it.
For 4 straight
and
years.
They didn't even give us the obligatory. They didn't give us the obligatory, like, look, guys, if this was the playoffs, Joel would have went today.
Right.
They just really tried to be like, no, he's really hurt, y'all.
What makes this so wild is that before the season, Dion literally called him out to his face about this. Like, literally was like, yo, I want to see you match up against him. Like, you can't miss the court now. This is Dion calling you out. You cannot miss this game. You know what I'm saying? This is
circle this one.
You gotta do it just on the strip of everybody coming at me like I'm ducking. I can't even look like I'm ducking now. And that's how we look.
Thing. Like, it ain't like, I mean, Jokic might have outscored him. It ain't like Jokic was going to kick his ass. You know what I'm saying? Like you might have gotten outscored 25-17 or something like that. You know.
But the big fail is with Embiid is like, this is as great as he is, right? We would never even think this about Jokic. Like, we wouldn't even, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you're right.
We wouldn't even, it wouldn't cross our minds if he didn't play. Like, if I'm a big, that's how I want to be. I want you to be like, oh, heck.
It's like I'm coming and I'm going at people, period, no matter what. And it's not opponent dependent. I think that's kind of one of the great things about Jokic. It's just like, I have an approach to win. My approach is to win. When I'm playing Embiid, when I'm playing AD, when I'm playing whoever, I'm trying to win.
Looney, it don't matter.
Yeah, it don't matter. The point of the game is to win. I'm not going to get caught up into this. Watch my team win, though. And I think that would have been the challenge for Joel to go up there. Everybody knows the challenges with the altitude and stuff like that. But I was of a mind. I don't really tend to like to go with the online sort of mob mentality of, oh, he's being a wuss, he's ducking the real MVP, blah, 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 blah. And but then, the more you really sit and think about it, it's like, this is part of the problem that I feel. And again, I'm somebody who has a big belief in a new crop of stars. I think these guys are charismatic, super talented, very interesting guys. I think they're compelling dudes. They're going to carry the league into the future. But this is part of it to me, where it's just like, just recognize the moment, man. Just meet the moment sometimes. Like, I understand logically, it's like, oh, this is just one of 82 and blah, 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 blah. And I'm ultimately going to be judged in the playoffs and whatever. But recognize the moment, man. Understand the narrative that follows you every single day, every single postseason, and meet the moment. Like, what's so hard about that?
I'd be hard pressed. I'm not going to say because I can't remember, but I'd be hard pressed to remember a game where Magic and Bird didn't play against each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just like in the regular season. Maybe one of them was hurt one year and they didn't play, but you got to suit up for that game. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, who else are you comparing?
I feel like the new generation is on that though. Like, to Waz's point, I think like, man, Edwards is suiting up, bro. Like, he trying to play. Like, Shea, them dudes is playing. Like, I do feel like the new generation is like,
guys. No, absolutely, yes. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not
and
universal.
Edwards is that's why I think people just gravitate towards the guy, and he's sort of like a charisma bomb, because early in the season they played Boston and they won. And it was like one of the early indicators that these guys were a serious team. And Ant Edwards specifically, he wanted to talk about how him and Jaden McDaniels ended up on switches on an island against Tatum, against Brown, and they held up. They got tie-ups, they got loose balls. They did he wanted to talk specifically like that individual challenge against Tatum, this all-star, this guy that basically plays my position, this guy that, a team type of team that we're chasing. I want y'all to know that I take that personally. Right. And I was like, man, Ant Edwards is different. A lot of guys wouldn't have mentioned that. They would have just been like, oh, it's a great team win. Although Ant Edwards was like, no, I understand that people view me in the context of those kind of guys. Yeah. And I want to show that I'm thinking about that and I'm meeting that moment. Yeah. And so, to see Joel do the opposite of that is a little, it's discouraging.
Hey, that bro Ant was at playing the Warriors, and he was like cooking. He had like 30-something, and him and Steph, he was checking into the game. This is like not this year, it was last year. Might have even been the championship year. That dude said, hey, Steph, I'm about to get 50. Hey, Steph looked at him and was like that dude is on their court, so in their gym, like, yo, I'm about to get 50. That's what it's like, oh, he different. But I feel like they're more old guard in that sense, than these middle ground guys are.
I mean, just think about, again, for Ant Edwards' own teammate, right? Karl Anthony Towns, who will go on a podcast and like unironically say their season by challenging Denver at all in the first round. And by the way, they lost in 5 games. Was actually the most impressive thing that happened. Or I'm the greatest big shooter ever. And to the point where people are like, well, it took Ant getting to the team for the team to have a sort of focus, a sort of, to establish a pecking order of attitudes and personalities, right? If not how the offense runs. Like, just think like this guy's younger than Cat. Yeah. And I think a lot of dudes are more on the Cat end of approach and understanding than the Ant side of things.
Yeah. Well, you can tell when a guy's hella competitive. You know what I mean? And that's what I see in him. Even if he does it wrong, he wants to win. He's trying to figure out, how do I win this game tonight, right? And
I mean, like I'm telling you, these young dudes is coming, man. Like, Halliburton is literally in.
Well, I was going to say Halliburton. Halliburton is another
dude. Front row seat for that Dame time situation.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
This dude is
this is something. Yeah.
Right. No, I mean, he did that against Boston and Indy to get them to Vegas. Like, you could tell, like, and it was crazy. That was his first triple-double, which I could not believe.
Yeah.
Like, I was stunned when they said that was his first career triple-double, And so he's another guy. So there's guys. It's not like there's no guys. There's
Young
guys
guy.
around the league.
It's that middle. It's the middle children. Was it's the ones.
Yeah,
in the
man.
Oh, man.
It's because again, and Marcus can attest to this. Just talking to Steph, and even if Steph doesn't do it, he might not vocalize it in a press conference. Everybody knows that underneath he wanted to bust Chris Paul's ass.
Oh,
he wanted to bust every single prominent point guard's ass in a way that was very declarative, like, yo, I'm here, I'm not coming, I'm here, right? Like he was very much chasing these guys and making it obvious with the way that he would embrace those challenges, those one-on-one challenges.
Shimmy afterwards.
Come on, like he made it so obvious, right? And again, like, you know, Carl, you know, Joel him and Joel have a history, which has been one-sided.
It's hilarious, by the way.
Just destroyed this kid from the beginning. He's just absolutely just killed him from the start. But it's not like you hear about it. It's not like the next time they play the Sixers, we're going to be like, here comes Karl Towns against Joel. This is going to be something. Whereas when Steph and LeBron play, everybody knows they're taking it up another level because of that, you know?
That was Marcus. That was as frustrated as I've ever seen Steph after a game.
Bruh, that dude literally ripped his jersey in half.
Right? That's what I'm saying. He took his jersey off. He never does that.
Literally ripped it. I mean, and look, Steph's taking some L's too. He ripped his jersey off a January game. Like, he didn't rip his jersey after Game 7 in 2016. He ripped his jersey because he lost to Bron on a night he was hot. Right? He dropped 46 and lost.
Yes.
Like, that was pain.
I'd never seen him that frustrated. But that's to your point, Waz. And there's no comp. I can't think of a comp for Steph. But he got that quiet killer in him. Like he really he's that dude, but he doesn't express it the way most dudes I know express it one way or another. Like Magic was just
Steph is,
you could just tell Magic was just the Pied Piper, right? Like everybody had to follow. You know what I mean? Like
I do think it's a little magic though. It's a little like I'm a smile because I'm better than you, right? Like Steph is like the lady at church saying, you know, bless her heart, right? Whereas somebody else might be like, you dumb as hell.
But then she cursing him out on her.
She gonna be like, bless her heart, right? That's Steph, right? Like he just. I'm just gonna shimmy and dance. I'm a smile, but
But Magic would curse him out in practice. Though.
Yeah, he would. That's the thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, he started pointing that finger with the tape on it. Like,
right. And Steph don't do. I mean, you just don't hear about Steph doing it. Maybe he does.
I mean, like Luka. I mean, Luka and the whole Devin Booker thing. Yeah, Luka's like, I mean, he was cooking Phoenix so bad and just like smiling at Devin Booker. Yeah. That might be the worst, bro.
Ever since Chris Paul and Devin Booker showed up to that press conference, they did legitimately in that game embarrass Luka on defense. They hunted him. They sort of made him look bad on defense, and they might have went up 2-0 in that series. And Luka, man, to his credit, he started showing pride on defense. And he's like, you know what? The way these dudes was smiling and grinning and having a good time at my expense in the press conference, to his credit, that series, he started taking pride in his defense. And now, every time he plays Devin Booker, he's like, I remember, kid. And I'll never let you forget it. So, again, like, Luka is one of those guys that is obviously hyper competitive too.
Yeah, no, he got some vinegar to him. You know, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Hey, let's get out on this, man. We got to talk about it because everybody's gonna be talking about it the next 2 weeks. So, even though Marcus hates his accommodations, he's going to the Super Bowl. So yeah.
I don't know about that, bro.
Come on, you go
figure something out.
Come on, you going.
I need to figure something out.
That's your squad.
Waz got to give me one of his, Waz know everybody.
One of his hookups.
Yeah, he got something like that.
Come on, Waz, you got to hook up. I know you got to hook up in Sin City.
I know some people, man. We might be able to figure some stuff out offline, especially in Vegas.
All right, Marcus, are you going to write about Taylor Swift while you're there?
Yeah, I don't know if they want me to write about it. You know what I'm saying?
Who else going to write about it?
Somebody, not me. I don't know. Somebody.
Wait a minute. You wrote about Dion. You could write about Taylor Swift.
It's a reason they sent me to write about Dion, though.
You're not the Taylor Swift correspondent.
That's not really in my culture. I mean, I should, I would, but I feel like that's stepping on somebody else's lane. You know what I'm saying? Like,
a lot of Marcus's sources tend to, eat collard greens and neck bone. That's a lot of his sources tend in that. They trend in that direction.
Come on, you know some Swifties. I know you know some Swifties.
Some other guys, their sources might be tuna casserole fans. You know what I mean?
You saying my sources skew a hue?
Skew a hue.
Yeah,
yes.
Sure.
Skew a hue. That's funny. All right, wait a minute. Who are we sending to write about Taylor Swift then? That'd be an interesting question. Like,
I mean, it sounds like you volunteering to me.
No, hell no. Hell no. No, thank you. I ain't. I'm not a Vegas guy. That's not my joint. That's not my jam. It's just not me. I can't deal with it.
I mean, I imagine
3 or 4 days.
I mean, first off, like it's gonna be who could get access because you're not just walking up to Taylor. So I imagine what Diana Rossini probably got the clout to do it.
Maybe Jason Jones.
Yeah, maybe Jason Jones. No,
Jason could do it. He writes about culture. I'm fascinated is not the right word. It's telling that people could lose their damn minds off of somebody that's on TV for 30 seconds in a game, literally 30 seconds. Like y'all act like this is the apocalypse because they cut to a shot of her for 30 seconds in a 3.5-hour football game.
It's so mysterious.
I think the thing that goes unsaid, and it's hard because, you got to straddle that line when, especially in our business, when we talk about fan culture, right? Yeah. Because I think there is a very thin line between, quote unquote, being a passionate fan and psychosis. I'm serious. Yeah. Like,
fanatic, right?
It's fanatic. Like where your day is literally made or broken by something having to do with a complete stranger, right? Like being in the business that we're in, we want people to really be passionate about the things that we cover.
We bank on it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. In a lot of ways, it pays our salary. But I think Taylor Swift and obviously people like Beyonce to a lesser extent with the Beehive, there's a real like nasty toxicity happening around Nicki Minaj and the Barbies right now online that is just woof. If you see some of that stuff, it's getting really ugly. But I think a lot of the Taylor Swift stuff is tapping into that. She does have a very cultish devotion to her online and in real life, right? And I think the NFL has very smartly tapped into that.
Of course they are.
For their own benefit. I gotta be honest. When I first heard about Kelsey and this Taylor Swift thing, the cynic in me, especially living out in LA, I'm just like, this is all contrived. This is all feels like a PR stunt.
Yeah, no doubt.
This just feels so forced and ridiculous. But also, part of me is like, there is something to the magic of sport. And like coming to this like communal, ritualistic event that can be huge sporting events like a football game. I mean, people can be transformed by it. Like, part of me wants to believe that Taylor Swift has become a genuine fan
of
this experience of like big sporting events with stakes and all of this juice in it. And so I'm like torn, right? Like, obviously, there's just the annoying capitalistic churn of just monetize and just try to squeeze every dollar and click and view and eyeball out of every single freaking moment and just squeeze every penny out of everything you do. Like that, I'm not gonna lie, that kind of stuff can sometimes ground me to like a pulp, man, where I'm just like, God, this is so depressing and gross. But another part of it, again, as people who work in sports, like it feels like Taylor Swift is really been transfixed by this thing that we all love to watch and participate in.
Right.
Turns out they're just like us, DA.
Right.
It feels like what inclusivity should be. Like, I know we talk about it a lot, but it's like, I spent the early years of my marriage trying to get my wife hooked on NBA. I felt like I accomplished something, but she was like, I want to go to the game or I'm watching the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
you watching the game where I'm not there. Like,
Right.
like I get it. I guess I don't care enough. Like, it's like, oh, there's Taylor. It's fine. But it doesn't harm me at all.
Like,
but I do like the idea of it being broadened in that sense, where it's like, like, I mean, like there was a time where it was a big deal for J and B to be courtside at NBA. Like, that was a big deal. It brought some validation. So from that perspective, like, I get it. I mean, imagine there's an entire world of people who wouldn't be watching the Super Bowl or care about football, but Taylor Swift is there, so they lit. Like, I don't know, that seems kind of cool. It's not my base, but I get that sentiment. Yeah, I mean, we do it all the time. I don't know why it's a problem when it's Taylor, other than the NFL about to milk this thing. Low key, they probably could be milking it more. Like,
I agree with you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there could be a Taylor cast, and they probably can't get her to do it, but because she don't need to do it. But this thing could be OD. You know what I'm saying?
If she show up with Usher, then the fix. That's going to be. I hope they don't do that. I hope they don't do that, because that would really piss a lot of people off.
Yeah,
show up at halftime with Usher.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know. Like, again, I'm not somebody who's like participated with her musical output at all.
Yeah, it's not
like,
my thing,
I don't know. I know some of the biggest.
Used to slap in the car though.
I know some of the
used to
biggest.
Be in the car listening. I was like, all right, I like this one.
She's clearly super talented.
She got talent. She got talent for sure.
Good,
absolutely no doubt about it. But again, it's hard for me because I can be so cynical about the stuff that corporations put on screen for us. I know 99.99% of it is very contrived. It's done for a reason.
But like, why does this bother people and like, that's what the military does it? Like, that's all contrived.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
exactly.
Like, the entire thing is this, and this is like, just a version with red lipstick and she's pretty.
Dude,
like,
the national championship game having an F whatever bomber fly over, which I'm like, bro, which is literally a machine that they use to kill people.
Right.
Like, kill people abroad, like, anonymously. Like, holy crap. Like, whatever. I just, again, I gotta be real. When the game ends and the camera just pans on Travis Kelce and he's hugging his girlfriend Taylor Swift and they share an embrace and they're just so happy and it's this Disney moment. I'm just like, I don't need this shit. Get love out of my football, DA. Get it out.
Wow, I just don't care, man.
Hey, here's where I check myself. When it was Russ and Sierra, I wasn't mad about it.
Exactly. If it was Beyonce and Mahomes, y'all would love this shit.
Yeah, just because I'm not particularly, but I like that they get that moment. Yeah, I like that they get that moment because I like it when it's mine. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, if Halle Berry pulled up on a youngster and I'm like, hey,
Halle Berry was dating David Justice. Ain't nobody.
Yeah, she was David Justice. Yeah, I'm like,
it's ill too because there's just certain things that will trip me off, right? Like, again, the Travis Kelce, the jock and the singer, the whatever, it's like a Disney-ification.
It feels
sort
contrived.
of whatever.
It feels like somebody flipped through some folders, right? It was like, let's pull out this one.
I'm not gonna hold you, man. When they were doing that T Morant Dad of the Year stuff on every single NBA broadcast, just because T Morant's a black dude who shows up to his kids' games, he's somehow some superhero dad, which for me was just tapping into this idea that black dudes don't father their kids. T Morant needs all of these. Oh my God. Did you see the black guy show up to his kids' game? What a miracle. That shit felt so condescending and annoying to me. This T Morant is the dad of the year because knowing what I know about T Morant behind the scenes, whatever, we won't even get into it.
Remember, it was his dad. Who was the other dad they would put on TV together? Who was Was it
Well-
Cat's dad? I think it was Cat's dad. Remember they would do like the little
Well-
hit with Chris Haynes together?
Yeah.
Like it would be like the two dads. Yeah, I think it was Cat's dad.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, it's just this the idea, like, look at this black father
Right.
fathering.
Yeah.
Isn't this just a Christmas miracle?
Calvin Hill showed up at Grant's games. You know what I'm saying? Like,
This idea that, you know, was a big deal, and all the shit happens with John Morant, and I'm thinking to myself, like, where's his dad? Where's his dad with some fucking advice,
Yeah.
with some fucking help for the nonsense this kid is doing, right?
Right.
But you know, like that, it's different things that they do on the broadcast that's like quote unquote human interest that sometimes just grinds my gears. But you know, the
Yeah.
Taylor Swift thing again, because it feels like she's actually enjoying
Into it,
sports in a
yeah.
way that the three of us do.
Yeah,
You know,
she seems like she's
I'm-
having fun.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I gotta respect that element of
Yeah, I can't hate on that. If she's into it, and you know, again, they said 5 years ago, I'll never watch the NFL again because Colin Kaepernick took a knee. Well, they just had the biggest ratings in the history of the world, and they're going, and this one,
all they had to do
Are
was
you
fire him
kidding?
and blackball him, but you know,
Right. Well, yeah. But I'm saying, you know, all them cats that were like, it's too woke. The NFL's too woke.
well,
You know what I'm saying? Like the same cats hating on Taylor Swift, and the NFL's numbers are going to Saturn. You know. What
Meanwhile,
I'm saying?
she is legit impacting elections though. she
Well,
got
yeah,
people
that
voting
too.
like crazy, you
too.
know.
That too.
So yeah, I
Right.
mean, you know, our producer says she's gonna. I'm not saying that. Get out of here.
No, we don't
You're trying to set me up.
Political on this show.
Trying to set me up, Dave.
Trouble.
Get out of here. Yeah, I'm
Right.
with the Taylor Swift. Come on, man. I'm with it. Do your thing.
I'm fine with
that.
All
I don't care.
I ask Taylor Swift is show up at the game after the game. I need you to pull up with a plate wrapped in foil for Travis. That's it.
That's
Then
all.
we'll know it's real.
I made something for
You
you,
know what I'm
baby.
saying?
Something to take home. I got to play for you.
Pull up with the plate wrapped in foil. Then you good. Like, yeah.
Oh my goodness! First of all, and I know we're about to wrap, but you saying that, Marcus, reminded me of two things. One, Dirk showing up to NBA games like in his last season with literally plates wrapped in tinfoil, and I was like, oh man, Dirk is he's really in it. And then two, he went on. I don't know if you guys saw this. He went on All the Smoke with Stack Jack and Matt Barnes, and they asked him if he remembers his first celebrity crush. And could you believe that man said Little Kim and Foxy Brown?
Like people don't know how legendary Dirk is. Man.
Dirk Nowitzki, man. Like, you
Dirk,
are
you,
one
man.
of the greatest ever.
Hey, because he could have said a lot of black women. Lil
Dude.
Kim and Foxy Brown is
Like, he's
different.
talking about
That's
something
different, bro.
specific. He's
Yeah,
talking
that's
about something
different.
specific right there. He didn't say Vanessa Williams.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Like, I was
He didn't
like,
say
yo,
Halle
Dirk,
Berry.
like,
Yeah,
that man. Let's put it like
Lil'
this.
Kim.
He was ready for Dallas, Texas, y'all. Just know that. That boy was ready.
I ain't mad at Dirk. I ain't mad at
That
Dirk.
dude-
You know how dudes have all these grandiose stories about what they would be if they weren't NFL players. I'd be a physicist. You know what my man said? He said, you know what? I'd probably be painting houses like my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
Love Dirk, bro.
like
Be hella good at it too. We
He's-
get the
he's
top
one of the-
with no
he's one of the
ladder.
good
right. All right.
One of the
Right?
good ones for sure.
Yeah, no, we love Dirk, man. All right, y'all. Well, leave that 5-star review on Spotify, Google Play, Apple, wherever you get this fine American podcast. Marcus, bro, if they can't leave them 5 stars, what they need to do?
Keep it to yourself, you haters. I'm gonna make you stay with me at insert name of awful hotel I'll be staying at
Not
the
good
Super Bowl.
hotel in Vegas.